when we were deciding to open a school in Gurugram, we thought we should not consider what other schools are doing and maybe make an improved version of it, but let's think something out of the box. What does a modern 21st century family require? So we didn't look much further than ourselves as well. For example, I looked at my own routine. My wife and I are working, so we come back from the Shamrock and SHEMFORD Group head office. We reach home at about 7:30ish, 8. Our first question to our son is, show us your diary. What was done in class? What was your homework? Do you require anything from the market, or should I send the driver home? And because he has to get up early morning, we ask him to take a bath, have his dinner, do some reading and go to sleep. So that's basically every evening for us. And the reason why he has to sleep early is because his school starts at 7:30. Now if the school starts at 7:30, his bus comes at 6:45, so I have to wake him up at 6 o'clock. So for a child who requires about 8.5 hours of sleep, you have to tuck him into bed by 9 o'clock. So if I come home at 7:30, this is how our weekly schedule goes, night after night, evening after evening. So we thought there should be a better way, right? Because right now in the current scenario, if there's a social engagement on any weekday, we dread it. Because if we have to go, we know the next day is going to get spoiled. And what happens is if he sleep late, then I know that he sleeps in the bus, which is very dangerous. And he says, a lot of children are sleeping in the bus, Papa, it's okay, nothing's going to happen to me. But just because other kids are sleeping in the bus does not mean my child also should be sleeping in a bus. And he seems a lot of times he seems sleep deprived as well. So we thought, what is the need to start a school so early? So my first question that went around is, why do schools start at 7:30, 8 o'clock and 7 o'clock as well in certain cases? The reason I found was, there were many reasons of course. The primary reasons were that the school buildings tend to heat up by 3 o'clock, or all buildings heat up by 3 o'clock. So in order to, considering the heat in India, in order to prevent children from getting uncomfortable, schools are closed at 2 o'clock. Now that's surprising today. In today's time, we don't close our offices, our shops, our establishments by 2 o'clock. What's the point of having a school system like this? Every winter morning, I'm standing out in the winter darkness, standing out in the smog at an unearthly hour. There is nobody else on the street, and my son and I are standing on the bus stop waiting for our school bus to arrive. And that's not just us. We see parents around that, and I keep wondering, why do children have to go to school at such an unearthly hour? So these were the reasons why we thought this system has to change. And when I talked about change, and I talked to other educators, why can't we have normal working hours for our school as well? You know what the biggest challenge I heard was? Not about where will you find the students. They said, where will you find the teachers? Then the second scenario arose was that our school system has been designed not for our children, but for our adults. They've been designed by adults for adults, because everyone seems to be happy in the status quo. Teachers want to go home by 2 o'clock, by 3 o'clock. They want to be home by the time their children come home from school. And it's all a very nice setup where the people who are in charge of running the schools have designed the schools according to their requirement. The problem that I face with this system is when my son comes home at 3 o'clock, I have to arrange for his tutors. I have to arrange for his extra classes. So either the driver goes and drops him to a place, or children go on a bicycle, strangers come to the house, and this is not safe for the child. In today's scenario in Delhi NCR, this is a very, very safe and unsafe environment for children. For strangers to be coming to our houses, and as you can imagine, my children all over the city are going to different locations. They're going to a dance class, they're going for an extra help classes, and who is looking after the regulations? These are unregulated spaces. Nobody's checking the quality over there. What kind of strangers are teaching my child? We don't know. Another problem was that not only is it unsafe, the hassle also of pick up and drop. And I know so many mothers whose just job after 2 o'clock is to act like a driver, drop the child for these extra classes, wait outside, bring the child back. It doesn't make sense again, right? And another reason, the money I pay for these extra classes is actually more than the fee I pay to the school as well, and which is crazy, right? Why would I do that? So considering all that, the question that was coming to me again and again, why can't we have a school system that works at human hours and not at those unearthly hours which are unnatural for the child, unnatural for today's family as well? So we decided we will design a school which starts at 9 o'clock, ends at 6 o'clock. Parents can come and pick up the children till 6:30 very comfortably. The child is in the library, he could be doing some activity, and all his requirements are fulfilled in the school itself. The homework, the assessments, the extracurricular activities, everything can be done in school hours in a safe location with trained and checked instructors as well. It saves money, it's safe, it's hassle free, and children are having a good time. And another reason is, even if children are at home, whom do the children come home to? Either they go to a daycare where there are maids taking care of the children. You don't know what is happening over there, just sleeping and waiting to be picked up by their parents, or there are maids at home, or there are grandparents at home, or they are dropped at a nanny house. The problem today is not just the physical safety, is a cyber safety as well. I have been speaking at conferences across the world. 5 years back, the biggest challenge for educators was children watching a lot of TV at home. The eyes were getting spoiled, and this was more so in the West, where the problem of single parents was there, where the mother would just lock the house and go to her pub in England or go to a bar in the US, and children would sit at home, watch TV. Now it's the internet. The internet is not just what you and I know of the internet. It's a very, very scary world out there. The dark web is something where children can, if you're aware of the dark web, can access stuff like they can buy drugs. Normal pornography on what we see on a regular net is kid stuff as compared to the filth that is available on the dark web. And children are accessing these sites through a tab browser. And not only that, the kind of communication that kids are doing between themselves, you and I would not even know. For example, if I ask you what is POS, POS to any businessman means point of sale. POS in today's children's language means parent over shoulder. They have a huge code list that you and I cannot even understand. So one basic theory that I have now is children should not be at home with the internet unsupervised. So even if the child does come home, just the fact the child has access to the internet is very, very dangerous for him. In fact, on I think middle of May, when the summer vacations in US break out, the number one searched phrase on google.com in US is how to bypass the firewalls. So the smart aleck fathers think, okay, I'm a techie, I'm going to put a firewall, and so I know what my children are watching. But how do you block 3G? How do you block iPads? How do you block this so much? How do you block access through a coffee shop? It is just not possible to block that. So for me, I want to design a school where children, all their requirements are taken care of, and when you come home, when you pick up your child from school, all his requirements are done. We have a locker for every child, so he's not carrying heavy bags home to school to home. So they just carry a notebook, a little work that they may have to do, some reading assignments, and that's it. They're sorted. Spend time with your child. Spend quality time with your child. Your life is not just the weekends. Every day can be a pleasure if these things are taken care of, right? And the morning, go for the morning walks. Play badminton with your child. If there is a smoggy day, then please stay indoors as well. What is the need to come out of the house? So 30% of children in Delhi NCR have bad lungs because of this. So we have decided to design a school like this. And again, the question is not about where will you find children. It's about where will you find teachers, and that's the most surprising thing. So we are very, very excited about this school project. We believe this is how schooling should be. We believe this is how the school of the future will be. Of course, children will have nap times, rest times. According to the age groups, we'll have different schedules. And this is not just a regular day boarding school. In a day boarding school, 80% of children leave and 20% of children just hang around in school with supervisors or maids or people just taking care of a bunch of mixed children. Here, this is a full day learn school. What I mean is every child stays on till the evening. So the whole school is there. All the activities, they're jam-packed activities for them to do, and all fun-based activities. Your children have been in Shamrock. They know how much fun that we have every minute of our school system, and that is extended for the whole day. So we don't let the children get bored as well. So it's something very, very innovative. We are very excited about it. Whenever I've talked to anybody, especially in the corporate sector, they absolutely love this concept, and they're asking us, why don't you do a tie-up with us? But we would first like to announce this model to our Shamrock and SHEMFORD parents. The reason why corporates are interested is it's obvious, right? After 3 p.m., the female staff especially, half or at least 25% of their minds are back home, right? If you're a mother or you're a father, you know your worry is, has the child come home? Usne kapde change kar liye? Has he had his food? Has a tutor come? Has he gone? Has he come back? Give me a call when you, and you have to give them a child a cell phone as well at a very early stage just for their safety. So these are the hassles that I as a parent have seen. So that is why corporates also realize that if a child is taken care of, if the parents know my child is in a very safe environment, their productivity actually would go up. So it's a model where I feel is a win-win for all. We are very, very excited. At Shamrock and Shameford Group of Schools, we've always believed that safety comes before education. So while designing this school, we kept in mind safety to the highest possible limits that we could. For example, the school has been designed in a caring, womb-like architecture. So it's almost like somebody who's embracing a child. The whole building has been a single structure, but the interesting thing is that the pathways for pre-primary, primary and senior children are totally different. They don't intersect. The challenge is, how do you design this in a single building structure? There are no blind spots. From a single view, you can almost see the whole campus at any given point of time. Of course, we have the cameras for the safety, access control, but we looked at the smallest of factors. For example, we had railings. When the railings was what the school were being designed, normally you have the railings which are horizontal in schools. What we realized was children could actually climb on those railings and jump over them, and which we all did in our school days as well, right? But we made vertical lowers. Now, vertical railings is no big deal, but when we started studying the diameter of the child's head, the head should not get stuck in the railing. The special railings for smaller children, in a way that children cannot slide on those railings as well. The electrical switches were put at a height. There is actually a maximum height for switches beyond which the National Building Code does not permit the height of switches. So we actually went to that limit. We wanted to place the electrical switches even higher, but the government doesn't allow that. Surprising, right, for a school? The classrooms, for example, have cushioned flooring as well. So if a child falls, he doesn't get hurt. There are large windows to ensure a lot of natural light, and almost 90% of the classrooms have a very nice glowing north light, so there's no glare of the sun. We were careful to look at the shadow of the sun. Due to the sun, the writing should not be blocked because of the shadow falling from this side. The light should come from the other side. There was a special study done to measure the light analysis, considering that the school will be open till 6:30 as well. So how do you ensure that the optimum light levels are used? No school thinks like that. For the children's health in the classroom, all the air is not only purified. Of course, any school can put purifiers. What I was thinking about was, the minute a school opens the door, the air from the outside windows or the windows in the classroom pollutes the air of this classroom as well. So all the air in our school is actually going through purifiers, dehumidifiers, and then entering the classroom. And then so all the purified air comes inside the classroom. Then we have another purifiers inside the classroom, because there's still dust on our clothes, on our shoes, and when we come from outside as well. So children, even though they're studying in NCR, will have a very good quality air to breathe, and that is very, very important. If children are spending 8 hours in a school and they're getting polluted air, that's not good for lungs. And today 30% of children in Delhi NCR have bad lungs. So we were very careful about the air quality as well. So we're putting in air quality measuring instruments in the campus as well. So the air is very, very clean. Optimum levels of light are being used in the classroom. For air conditioning, we're using Daikin, which is known for silent air conditioners, because the noise level should be very low for air conditioning. Normal schools, either they recirculate the same air again and again, and that is why sometimes you feel lethargic sitting in an air conditioned environment, or they use the air from the window, fresh air from the windows outside or from the doors in the corridors, which leads to polluted air entering the campus. So our school design, although it results in increasing our capital cost and operational cost, because I have to take hot air from outside all the time. But this is what I would want for my child, and I have designed this school the way I would want for my child. So I believe if it's good for my child, it'll be good for other children as well. Then in the classroom, we have, in the pre-primary classes, we have sinks for all the children. A lot of time teachers get lazy that they don't want children to do art and craft activities because the hands would get dirty, and it's a hassle to line them up, ask them to go outside and wash their hands and come back. So we've just put a sink in every classroom as well. Of course, there are 32 lockers in every classroom, so the lockers are there so that children don't have to carry heavy bags in school. There is technology in the classroom as expected. Our school is called SHEMFORD Futuristic School, but we know how to optimally use technology and not make an overdose of technology as well. And one of the beautiful things in our school is, in the pre-primary section, is a flexible classroom. So 2 classrooms actually open up and become one large classroom. This is more important because children are spending so many hours inside the school that if you enclose them in a small room for the whole 8 hours, it can be a bit boring as well. So I'm sure if you think back to your school days, whenever 2 sections used to be merged, how excited we used to get. So when the 2 classrooms open, it becomes a huge mega classrooms, and then teachers can start zoning out that there's one area where children are doing writing, one group of children are doing oral activities, some children are doing art and craft. So instead of looking at learning in just one stage on the stage, this actually is more activity based, and this is also possible because we have 2 teachers in every classroom. Again, not a first time, but the beauty of our system is that our assistant teachers actually graduate with the children. So what I mean is, as children progress through the classes, the assistant teacher actually goes along with the class. Why we did this was, we realized that sometimes by the time the teacher even memorizes the children's name, 1/3 of the year is already over with. By the time they understand each child's learning style, his ability, his background, strengths, weaknesses, half the year is already gone. So if the assistant teacher is also progressing with, she's like a mother teacher who's progressing with the class. She doesn't understand the education perhaps as much as the main teacher would, but she understands those children. So she is actually like a mother teacher to those children. So she acts like the bridge between the children and the teacher who's going to be teaching, and of course is there to give a hand. So what happens is, now the new teacher, whenever they go to a new class, the new teacher can immediately understand how these children learn, what are the strengths and weaknesses of each child, and that person acts as a bridge. So that is something which we felt is very, very important today, to ensure that every minute is important and is utilized from day one of the academic session as well. In terms of access control, we've got elevators with glass on both the sides so that no child can access it. It has access control, only adults can use it. The labs have the glass elevator going through it, a very, very futuristic look to it. Of course, apart from the regular labs, we'll be having a TV recording studio, an audio recording studio, a drone flying zone. We're having a double height library. Personally, I read a lot, and I believe the library should be the heart of the school, because it's all about doing self-learning is what is an important skill for the future. If children can learn how to learn for life, I think we've done a good job with them. So the library is a beautiful lounge, double height area right in the heart of the building, and children would love being there. And if parents get late to pick up, there's a meeting or so you're stuck somewhere, it's okay, the children are in the library, they are safe with us. So the double height library is an amazing piece of architecture that will be coming up. We have a hole in the building as well for fresh air. We have 3 outdoor classrooms in the building, a training hall. So a lot of things which we thought is the requirement of today's children. Why did we do a TV recording studio? We are not an animation company. Why did we do a recording studio for audio as well? Because today's children need to think of starting creating digital content for themselves, expressing themselves not only on the stage, but also through media, with the digital media like YouTube as well. So the whole school has been designed, the architecture has been designed for their safety, for making learning interesting, for making a school which they would love to come to every single day. And that's my promise to all parents, that we would have a scenario where children don't want to go home even when you come to pick them up. In SHEMFORD, we have an HR department who recruits teachers from all across the country. So we have the capability to recruit from across the country, and not just through an advertisement in the local newspapers, which traditional schools do. So as a result, we are able to choose from a wide variety of teachers from across the country, and then they undergo a rigorous training program, residential training, on-site training, and every teacher undergoes weekly training through webinars. So that is very, very important, where they keep improving all the time. Each teacher is then given assistant teacher as well to ensure that whatever administrative tasks are there, like taking attendance, which are not really adding value to the child, are taken care by an assistant as well. Teachers are given ready-made lesson plans, so we don't even expect them to start from scratch. So if a concept has to be taught, which of a volcano, for example, so what are the introductory activities going to be? We share the video of how, first show them what the volcano is, and when it erupts, the sound, and then you talk about the chapter which is given there. So the whole idea is that we are actually empowering our teachers, selecting good teachers, empowering them, training them, so they're able to deliver the best of academic systems. And then in our overall curriculum, our chapters don't go 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a theme and sanskar of the month. So every month, so for example, the theme of the month could be about me. So all chapters for all subjects from nursery to grade 8 about me are taught during that month. For example, the chapter in biology, the chapter in civics would be taught during that month. And the value of the month, the sanskar of the month could be honesty. So for the whole month, all the notice boards are about being honest. We have one period in a week on sanskars in which they do activities about honesty. Now you can't just teach values to children. Values cannot be taught, they have to be caught. So for example, if we had, for example, a subject called moral science in our school, and there was a paragraph and the question, and you know what the answer was, but did that make somebody honest? No, right? We just knew what had to be done, but whether I incorporate it in my everyday life, it's not something which is necessarily true. Now you may have a child who may go to IIT, but after going to IIT, going to his job, if he doesn't call you for months, what kind of values have we given? So values are something which no parent asks us to do, but we feel it's our moral responsibility to teach values. Now at SHEMFORD, how we do it? So in the activity for sanskar, for example, the activity about honesty was, one of the activities was that every time a child is asked to come in front of the class, the teacher says, every time I ask you a question, you're going to lie, and every time you lie, I'll tie a rope around you. So the teacher asks, how did you get late from school? The child would say, some ma'am asked me to stay back. She ties a rope. Why did she ask you to stay back? One more reason was given. Who else was asked to stay back? One more reason was given. And every time she keeps lying to cover the previous lie, we keep tying her up with ropes. And then the children are asked, okay, what may happen now? Then somebody says something like, maybe the mother would meet a child's mother who she claimed had stayed back. Maybe the mother meets the teacher in the market in the evening, and she says, no, I didn't ask them to stay back. What will happen then? The parent would lose trust in the child. What would happen then? So and so on. You get the point. So they say, what should the child have done? Then after a few seconds, children always start saying, maybe it was better that child, ek thodi si daan kha lo, that mama, I stopped back for coffee, I stopped to chat with my friends, and that's why I got late. Now that's how honesty comes. For 1 month, we ask the parents to do anything, but don't lie in front of the children. The notice boards for the whole month are about honesty. The whole school talks about honesty. The principal's speech is also about honesty for the whole month. We feel if we focus on one value for the whole month, somehow or the other, the values start getting imbibed. Now, chapters in the subjects also, for example, Gandhiji's chapter, who's known for honesty, is taught during that month. So we kind of map the English chapter also. That's how the whole school mapping is done. Then we looked at one of the biggest reasons for the craze for convent schools was that the children speak English. So we have in our current curriculum in CBSE, we have writing and reading. So you read the book, you write the exam, and if you get good marks, the teacher says you're good in English. But speaking is so important. Today I am speaking to you. You have to be able to speak in interviews, communicate with your colleagues, communicate with your customers, communicate with your boss, your juniors, everybody. It's all about verbal communication is so important. Yet our school system does not teach verbal communication. That's why when we go outside the country and we see a colleague who's a foreigner, and we say, his content is rubbish, but the way he talks, everybody gets impressed. And when I say the same thing, nobody listens to me, because we are not able to communicate effectively. So we have a program for spoken English skills in which they do activities to enhance their spoken English skills. We have a program for critical thinking as well. Today, it is not just enough to be able to memorize a concept and give it out and vomit it out in the examinations within your cursive handwriting. For success in life, you have to be you're a creative person. You have to be able to think out of the box. Rote learning and those skills, those jobs will actually go out to the robots. They'll be the AI powered. You need to be more human, and things like this are going to make you more human. So we have a critical thinking program. We have a health and wellness program in which we talk about children's health as well, which is so important. So not only are we taking care of children's health through our infrastructure by not having heavy bags, by giving children good air, by their physical safety while they're inside the school, but also we're also motivating them to live a healthy lifestyle through the choices of food, exercise they do. And every child gets to do a physical activity every day in school. When I have studied in 12 schools across the world, and everywhere you just have 2 games period in a week. That was sports. In SHEMFORD, every child has one physical activity a day to ensure that they are actually physically active. So we've taken care of children in a holistic manner, not just looked at their grades, but looked at what all their needs are. And that's why we look that we need that extra time with your children. We need the time to finish all the homeworks, their work. And when we are there to supervise, to help, to answer their questions, why should the responsibility of educating the child be like a ping pong ball, which we see in parent-teacher meeting? When you go to a parent-teacher meeting, the parent tries to blame the teacher for the mistakes, and the teacher tries to put it on the parents, saying, you should spend more time with their child, and the parents feel, okay, why are we paying you the school fees as well? We don't want that to happen. We say we'll take responsibility for the child's education. So we've designed a holistic system which not only covers the NCERT/CBSE syllabus, but we package it in an interesting manner. We map the themes. Who says you have to teach 1, 2, 3, 4 chapter wise? Let's do it in a theme of the month. Let's make it interesting. Let's not just learn in silos, but teach an integrated approach as well, and then coupled with values and making each chapter interesting. We think that's why our children learn very quickly. They don't require extra help classes like other schools, and of course they enjoy every moment that they are with SHEMFORD schools. And it's a promise that we've made to so many parents that do your children enjoy coming to SHEMFORD, and it's always been a very, very loud yes. In fact, that's the question when I go to any of our SHEMFORD schools. My first question is, do your children enjoy coming to SHEMFORD? Because it's easy to replicate fun and learning in Shamrock in the playgroup classes, but when it comes to SHEMFORD, which are serious classes, how can you create joy in learning in those classes? And that is what we have able to achieve. Recently, I was in West Bengal, one of our branches, and I asked the same question to the parents. I said, do your children enjoy coming to school? Because when I came for the inauguration, I had made a promise that I will set up a school that your children will enjoy coming to. Have I fulfilled the promise? The parents started clapping, there was hooting, they stood up, and I had goosebumps all over just hearing that kind of feedback from the parents. And after the function, one parent comes to me and says, sir, I have a complaint. I said, yes. He said, sir, I'm in a transferable job, and every 2 years my job is transferred. So after 2 years in the city, I was transferred to Kolkata, and I thought, okay, we'll shift to Kolkata. My family was ready to move, and I took my children along to see the best schools of Kolkata. That which school do you would like to go to? They said, there's no SHEMFORD here. He said, yeah, I don't think SHEMFORD has a branch in Kolkata. They refused to move. They said, Papa, you go wherever you want. We are not moving. So while choosing between their father and SHEMFORD, they chose SHEMFORD. And today I drive 125 kilometers every day because I have to be with the family, and I only remember you. I keep thinking about you, that what kind of school has this man made that my children don't want to move to Kolkata with me. So that's one of the examples. There are hundreds and hundreds of examples of that, where parents have come up to me and talked about how much the children enjoy coming to SHEMFORD, how much they love the learning process. Because in today's world, if you kill the joy of learning, You know, we all know how jobs are being changed, how our requirements in the workplace are changing so rapidly, that if somebody cannot be a person who is adaptive to change, who's willing to change, learn all the time, they will not succeed. Gone are the days where you say, I've mastered a skill today in college, now I'll go out to the workplace and this is what I'm going to do for the next 40 years. No. So anybody who is not willing to learn will not be able to succeed in tomorrow's workplace. So we have brought that joy of learning. Coming to school should not be something where children cry to. Children should want to run, they should run to SHEMFORD and they should walk back home. They should feel sad on holidays that why can't I go to SHEMFORD today? And that is the kind of school system that we have already designed, set up in so many places across the country, and now we are super excited to bring it back home to our own city in Gurugram, and we're looking forward to starting our school this year with a huge bang.